Thank you for all joining us today. I'm Michelle Steele, Chairman of the Orange County Board of Supervisors. I know all of you have been waiting patiently to hear about the state's granting of waivers to schools to open in the fall. As of now, by the state's orders, Orange County schools are not permitted to open. However, the state allowed schools to apply for a waiver for in-person instruction to our local health officer to open school for in-person elementary school instruction. These waivers apply only from pre-K through 6th grade. The state released the waiver application on Tuesday, and it is available now. School administrators can contact tk/6waiver@ocha.com for more information. Orange County is ready to help school administrators in need of assistance in the waiver process. We have received an overwhelming number of calls and emails from parents asking for their children to be allowed to go back to school. We have to ensure a safe learning environment for our children. Throughout this waiver process, the schools that are eligible to apply will work with our county health office to ensure they open safely and reasonably. Our healthcare agency is ready to assist school administrators through this process. I want to address an issue relating to COVID-19 reporting data that was brought up by the state earlier this week. The state announced this week that they are experiencing problems with CalReady, the data reporting system from which counties download COVID case data. Because of the state's problems, data may be underreported. I urge the state to provide timely, transparent information on the status of CalReady. The public health officials and policymakers across the state rely on this data to understand COVID spread and make decisions on opening and closing schools, businesses, and gatherings. It is essential to know the extent of the problems with the CalReady system and understand how it is affecting the data we report. Next, I want to remind our school administrators about the Orange County Healthcare Agency's COVID Schools Response Team, which is a unit of public nurses and physicians who are dedicated to providing guidance to administrative staff at schools that have either experienced a COVID-19 exposure or are seeking general guidance. These teams can answer general questions about COVID-19, provide information about testing locations, education about self-quarantine, and conduct case investigations and contact tracing activities. Lastly, we will be making an announcement regarding a new county program that we will be introducing for our restaurants. I am joined by Chairman Andrew Doe, Lucy Dunn, President and CEO of Orange County Business Council, and Christine Lane, Director of Environmental Health at the Orange County Healthcare Agency for our announcement as well. We'll be taking questions relating to this new program after our comments. There will be a media call-in for more information tomorrow if needed, with Dr. Chow and Frank Kim, both of whom could not join us today. Many restaurants throughout the county are having challenges understanding how to navigate the state's guidelines. We understand the openings and closures have taken its toll on the restaurant industry and the dining experience alike, and we want to address both problems. The Orange County Board of Supervisors allocated $10 million to support local restaurants that are safely reopening. Vice Chairman Doe, who spearheaded This program will give you an update on this new program to support our restaurants. Now, I invite my colleague, Vice Chairman Do, up here. Thank you for joining us today.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Chairwoman Steele, for the introduction. My name again is Andrew Doe. I'm a Vice Chairman of the Orange County Board of Supervisors. Today, the Orange County Board of Supervisors is taking one more step to ensure that customers and workers at restaurants around Orange County are safe. On July 14, I proposed the Safe Dine OC restaurant program, which was unanimously supported by the Board of Supervisors. This program allocates $10 million of the CARES Act funding to help restaurants keep their employees and customers safe by providing cash grants that they can use to cover the cost of cleaning supplies and PPEs. We know that face masks, frequent hand washing, and social distancing are critical measures that we all as individuals must take to fight against COVID-19. But for restaurants in particular, surface cleaning, especially now with outdoor dining being permitted, is a critical measure to help stop the spread of the virus. Orange County is home to many diverse food establishments. Many of the operators are non-English speakers, as well as the workers and patrons. As such, it is critical that Orange County, through our Safe Dine OC program, have to make our information accessible in multiple languages. Restaurant owners who apply to Safe Dine OC will be able to fill out the form in English, Spanish, Vietnamese, traditional, as well as simplified Chinese and Korean. In addition, we will be working to translate all of the state health guidance and the documents related to those guidances from the state, translated into multiple languages, and we'll be updating them on our website. Orange County restaurants that had no uncorrected major violations from the last health inspection qualify to apply for this grant. And we felt that if we post the names of all of the grant recipients from this program on our website, meaning the restaurants that received the grant through the Safe Dine OC program on the Safe Dine OC website, that we will allow the public a chance to find out which restaurants that they would like to patronize, who follow the COVID-19 protocol to protect their workers and the public. And so I believe that this measure will encourage further adherence and further participation in the Safe Dine OC program. So look for it on our website. And we will also at the county be doing a media awareness campaign to recruit more restaurants to participate in the program. We believe that voluntary participation is the best way to get the word out there, to inform the public, to make it a part of our life. We know that we will be living with COVID-19 and the different levels of reopening for our economy and our community for the next at least 3 to 6 months. So this is part of our new normal, at least for the time being. And so this is the time for all of us to just treat it as something that we should do to protect ourselves and to protect those around us, especially those who face particular risk because of their age or their health conditions. And I want to emphasize that Safe Dine OC is but just one more step that the Orange County Board of Supervisors has taken to help the public and in this case, particularly the restaurants. And we are hoping that these measures will help chip away at COVID-19 and help to get us as a county to the point where we have the numbers to justify the reopening of whether it's our community, outdoor sports for our kids, or resuming in-class instruction, as the chair mentioned earlier. So going back as far back as in April, I led the effort for the board to pass an ordinance to require face covering for critical workers, such as at restaurants and grocery stores. And after we had that ordinance in place, the state now mandates such a practice. In May, the Orange County Board of Supervisors approved the HEART Plan, which provides tens of millions of dollars to local small businesses. And in June, we launched the Latino Health Equity Initiative, which provided targeted responses in the Latino communities, particularly in Santa Ana and Anaheim, who are hard hit by COVID-19. In July, I launched the Mask Up OC campaign to enlist the public's help to encourage responsible face covering, and I'm happy to see so many of our residents participating in that campaign. And we try to make it again, part of the new normal, without having to make it compulsory. But we feel that the more that people are willing to participate, the better we are as a county. And I'm very proud to really highlight that just last week, we at the county launched the first responder dedicated testing lane at the Anaheim Convention Center. So with the mass testing initiative that we have going on at the county, starting at the Anaheim Convention Center, at this site, first responders will have immediate access to test, whether they are symptomatic or not. We recognize that first responders are out there dealing with the public, placing themselves and their families at risk, and also to protect the community in case of spreading if they do have COVID-19 and they are asymptomatic. And so the ability to make testing available at any time so that way first responders can get tested on a regular basis is an important measure in protecting our community. So back to the Safe Dine OC program, we at the county as well as the Orange County Board of Supervisors continue to support small businesses. We know they are the backbone of our community, and in the ethnic communities, this is really the pathway to the American dream. And Orange County is home to many first-generation Americans and also a lot of small businesses. And so what we do here today to help allay some of the cost of keeping our workers and our customers safe is a small step that we continue to take to help the community. And I want to thank the Orange County Business Council, particularly President and CEO Lucy Dunn, who is here and who will be speaking with you shortly, for stepping up, for being a resource for the county to help us administer this program. As you know, at the county, as we stand up a lot of these programs around the county in the community to help out, it's impossible for the county to step up and mobilize and create that infrastructure overnight. And so we really rely on organizations like the Orange County Business Council, as well as local community nonprofits and organizations to step up and help us. And OCBC is doing their part in helping us here. So with that, I would like to invite Lucy Dunn, again, President and CEO of the Orange County Business Council, to say a few words.
Thank you so much, Chairwoman Steele and Supervisor Vice Chair Andrew Doe. I am delighted to join you all today. I'm Lucy Dunn, President and CEO of the Orange County Business Council. We all love visiting our local restaurants and supporting their business in a very tough time. Today, the County of Orange has taken an important step toward making restaurant patrons and workers feel safe and ready to return. Now, for allowed outdoor dining and takeout where available, but also in the future to prepare for dine-in opportunities when they return. These grants reward restaurants trying to do the right thing by reimbursing them for the costs of masks, cleaning supplies, reconfiguring tables and chairs for distancing protocols, etc. Restaurants participating in Safe Dine OC will help residents know where they can dine safely because good health protocols are followed. The application process is quick, easy, and streamlined to ensure restaurant owners can get speedy access to the funds. We think it's going to take maybe 5 minutes to complete online. Orange County Business Council will feature those restaurants who receive grants on a special ocbc.org website roster of safe restaurants in Orange County available for public review. OCBC is committed to the business community in Orange County and our economic prosperity and high quality of life. Economic recovery is so important to us in very, very tough times. We know good health is good business. We commend the Orange County Board of Supervisors for your leadership and innovative solutions, supporting local businesses, their employees, and customers. Thank you. Thank you very, very much. Rewarding good behavior is what it's all about these days. So now I'd like to turn it back to Molly Nicholson at the County of Orange so we can take some questions from the media. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you, Lucy. Now, operator, may we have our first phone call?
And ladies and gentlemen, if you have a question, please press 10 at this time. Again, 10 if you have a question. Our first question will be coming from Nick Gerda with the Voice of OC. Please go ahead.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for taking questions again. I had a question on the restaurant dining incentives. I was wondering about other types of businesses. Do they get this kind of help? Gyms, nail salons, et cetera? If it is just for restaurants, kind of why the decision was made to just provide that for restaurants? And wanted to know overall how much money is available for these grants and why it's taken, I think, about 4 months to do this since the CARES Act money came into the county.
Somebody's glasses. Thank you, Nick, for the question. When we sat down to think of a program like this and looking at the resources that we have available to us at this time, we asked ourselves that very same question is, given what we have, should we be more targeted? And if so, should we target the industry, the sector in our economy that affects the most people? And given the level of dining, even outdoor dining, we feel that the number of restaurants and the kind of measure in place in terms of our health care workers, the health department inspectors, that we have the infrastructure in place to go out there and actually inspect and make the determination, right, with the attestation that the state requires of restaurant, that we have an infrastructure and a process through which we can make this evaluation and to have some kind of enforcement. And so we chose the industry that is most ready to lend itself to the level of compliance that we need. So that's why we made that decision. Next question, please.
Next question will be from the line of Vicky Vargas, who is with Channel 4 News. Please go ahead.
Hi there. Following up on that question, are there other businesses, though, that also affect people? It seems like a pretty small group to work with as far as restaurants only. And have you said how much per restaurant? Is there a max, a minimum? I'm not sure I heard a number.
Yes, thank you, Vicky, for the question. The grant will be $1,000 per restaurant, and all they need to do is to fill out the attestation and post it on their business, and that's where OCBC will help in the administration of it. They would fill out the application and would be processed by OCBC. To answer your original question, yes, we will be looking at other sectors in our economy as well. We want to be fair, we want to be consistent, but recognizing the limited resource that we have a lot of needs as well, both in terms of the daily needs of our different populations in our community, from food services to health, to our first responders' needs. So it's a question of weighing and balancing between the industries that will get the most bang for our buck and the resources that we have. But yes, we will be looking at other sectors as well. Next question.
Next question will be from Margaret Carrero with KNX. Please go ahead.
Yes, thank you again for doing this and taking our questions. Just a quick question with regard to what you've been hearing from the restaurants as far as this program is concerned. Have the applications started to come in already? What is the response that you're hearing from them with regard to this?
Thank you so much for the question. Lucy Dunn here, Orange County Business Council. The website literally just went live today, and yet restaurants that we know are taking a look at it. We have not yet received any negative comments, but that's the point. We're all learning here, and we wanted to make this as easy as possible. I also wanted to just remind folks, Orange County has almost 10,000 restaurants. That's a lot of contact places where our public goes. And I think that's why our supervisors and Andrew Doe took a look very strongly at what impacts most of us. So I think this is a great first opportunity. And when that website, when we start getting those applications in, we'd love to update you. We'll certainly get questions from applicants as they come in, and our job is to help you succeed. That's what we want to do. We want you to succeed and get all of this information up so that the public is aware. Hope that helps.
Thank you.
Next question, please.
Next will be Matthew Leslie with the Fullerton Observer. Please go ahead.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. How will the county be making sure that people are using the supplies properly and diligently? I mean, with the amount of county staff available to inspect restaurants, how can the public be assured that there's some sort of accountability for people who receive grants for this program?
We can have OCBC answer that question, and we also have environmental health that can actually talk to what currently occurs as far as that's concerned as well.
Hi, Lucy Dunn here again. The reason we know this is helpful is because we're asking restaurants to upload receipts for their supplies, masks, etc., that they've already spent. They can give us receipts from March 1st through the end of this program, 60 days from today, and those receipts are telling us that they've already spent the money on these cleaning supplies. And that's what we're reimbursing them for, and that's why we know when we take a look at these receipts that it's going to the right places. So I think that's another measure of great success. And we'll be checking them. We'll be checking those receipts, and the county, of course, under federal requirements, has auditing requirements that they can do, as well as certainly health inspections through the health permits that all these restaurants are required to have in place. So we're, again, every step we've tried to think about is to set you up for success so these restaurants have what they need. Thank you. Christine Lane, you want to take it from here?
Thank you for the interest in the program. Environmental Health is very excited to participate with the Supervisor's Office and Orange County Business Council. So when Environmental Health conducts routine inspections, we are verifying or documenting any type of COVID non-compliance. And so for those who are not in compliance with the checklist or attestation, we'll be notifying the Orange County Business Council and following up to ensure compliance with that requirement.
Next question, please.
Next question will come from Ann Valdespino with the Orange County Register. Please go ahead.
Thank you. My question is, if it's all about safety, why not mandate restaurants report when they have COVID cases among employees and have the healthcare agency report that to the public? Wouldn't that be helpful to the public as well? And why are we not doing that?
I'm sorry, you cut out as far as your question was concerned. Can you repeat your question, please?
If it's all about safety, why not mandate that restaurants report when they have COVID cases among employees and then have OC Healthcare Agency report that to the public? Wouldn't that be helpful to the public?
So this is a question for Christine Lane in Environmental Health. We'll have her come up and answer that question for you. One moment.
Hello. So transmission of coronavirus is very easy from person to person. So it's anticipated that it could be anywhere. So the public's assumption should be that anytime they go out, that there is a risk of transmission. And so similar to universal precautions, everywhere you go, you should mask up, wash your hands when you touch things, not touch your face. So I recommend that everyone understand that, and any chance that there is for a restaurant visit is a chance for transmission.
On your list, those will be safe. How do we know that?
I'm sorry, we're having a challenging time hearing you in relation to your question. Can you repeat that question?
But you're saying that you'll have this list of restaurants that are safe. But how will we know that if the COVID cases among employees are not reported?
Okay. If the COVID cases are not reported, she was wanting to know, how are they safe?
So again, it's a very transmissible disease. And so what happens is at a restaurant, an inspection is a moment in time, a point in time. And anytime the facility is participating in the grant, it's also a point in time. And so what we do based on our inspection or the audit by the Business Council is going to be based on the information we have at that time, based on that visit, what we observe. Certainly information can come afterwards that indicate that there is an ill food worker. That can happen with a foodborne illness. So similar to other inspections or other programs, you have to take the information you have at this time, and that's what you base your inspection report on, your decision, your grant approval. And certainly follow-up is available for inspections or auditing purposes, and we will be working together on that to make sure that every facility that is receiving the grant is in compliance. And again, you just have to understand that at a food facility, the food workers are people too, and they're going to do the best that they can to mask up and cover themselves and protect themselves, as well as the food preparation. And so what we do is we're going to verify, but again, it's a moment in time or just a snapshot of the inspection and what we're doing.
Next question, please.
Next question will go to Chip Yost with KTLA. Please go ahead.
You have two questions. One, can you give kind of an example of how broad the items are that these restaurants can buy? For instance, can they also purchase those plexiglass partitions that a lot of the restaurants are using? And secondly, you mentioned there's 10,000 restaurants in Orange County. Has there been any review, any reach out to see how, do you guys have any kind of number that you anticipate how many restaurants of those 10,000 are going to go out of business or already have gone out of business because of the shutdown?
We can have Lucy Dunn talk about what they can purchase in the program, and then obviously in regard to the closures, that would be conjecture, but we can maybe from the business perspective, Lucy might be able to talk about that as well.
Thanks so much for the question. The reimbursable expenses that are allowed for that $1,000 are anything that CARES Act would allow, like personal protective equipment, masks, cleaning supplies, employee training, exactly what you said, those plexiglass barriers, how to reconfigure the chairs, whatever is acceptable under CARES Act. And frankly, our website gives you a link to see what those things are. So you'll be able to check in real time and double check. Frankly, restaurants are already doing this. And so our job is to kind of collect those receipts, make sure they're posting their health checklist and posting that attestation, as well as doing all of the cleaning and things that they need to do. And what we're finding is they're doing all the cleaning and they're wearing masks, but they're forgetting about actually reading the checklist and making sure they've checked the right boxes. So I think that's why we wanted to reward this extra step and get them all in compliance. And when the public sees those posted pieces of paper on their front doors, on their windows, it gives them that little extra assurance that this is a restaurant that cares about their customers and cares about their workforce. And you're right, there are issues. We need to make sure we audit and we need to make sure we check up on this stuff. But this is a great first step and just a 60-day program. As far as restaurants that have already shut down, I wish I had a number. It's tragic how this economy has tanked so many businesses. I think at one point, Dr. Wallace Walrod, our chief economic advisor, said we were something like in a 14% unemployment rate and rising. I think the beauty of our supervisor's leadership here is to keep those restaurants that already are open and in business, right? Because if we can give them the safe protocols so customers can come back and employees feel safe to be at work, they're more likely to navigate through this incredibly tough environment. So It's the best we can do, and I really commend our Board of Supervisors for the leadership in this one. I think it's a great first step and a model program. Frankly, I don't know of any place else where this is happening. I could be wrong, but that's why we want to do this and make sure that it's successful for all of our restaurants. Thanks for your question. Next question.
Paul Anderson with DB News. Please go ahead.
If there were some restaurants that have had some issues with complying with COVID-19 guidelines from the state, is it possible that they may not be eligible for this program, or does it kind of start with a clean slate with everyone? There were some notable businesses that were openly flouting the guidelines, so I wondered about their eligibility. And I also wanted to know if there was some, with the new schools team being assembled, if they were trying to ask the state about the possibility of allowing some of these schools to do outdoor learning as an alternative.
Well, the secondary question be more we can ask in relation to tomorrow's call that we have at 1 o'clock tomorrow. As far as the restaurant question, maybe Lucy and then Christine might be able to answer it too as a follow-up as well.
Right, but Michelle Steele raised the issue of the school.
Lucy here. So perhaps it might be helpful if I walked through the how a restaurant can comply very simply. They need, and that's because my bet is you haven't had a chance to click on the website yet to take a look at it. These are the things that a restaurant needs. They have to have a current health permit issued by the County of Orange. They need to review and comply with the California restaurant guidance. They need to complete their restaurant checklist. They need to upload a photo showing their restaurant name and that they've posted that checklist. They need to complete an attestation, which is a form that we're giving you right on the website, and upload a photo that shows their restaurant name and that they've posted the one-page little form attestation. And by the way, that photograph could be both of those. They could post the checklist and the attestation and the restaurant name in one photo, so it's easy. They need a W-9 form so we can send them a check. And then they have to upload $1,000 worth of CARES Act qualified purchase receipts showing that they were paid, what the products were used for. And so we have a record that the CARES Act grant, this $1,000 grant, is going to where the feds have required it to go. And last, they just need to review the terms of use and privacy policy. It's just that easy. And as I said, I think it might take 5 minutes. If you've got the documents ready to go, it might take 5 minutes or less to upload this. And then OCBC, we will review it. And then we will send the notice to the bank to make sure the check gets issued right away. So again, our job is success here, and to help our folks get success, if there's any questions, we even have an email address to send us questions, and we can try to take care of that and make sure that we get you that check as soon as possible. Okay?
Next question, please.
Next question will be from Jessica DeNova with ABC7. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for taking questions. So that list there answered, I think, my question related to the restaurants. I'm not sure, is it my understanding we're not taking questions on schools at all, just because it was brought up at the start of the meeting, and I just had a question about the list of schools eligible in OC to complete these waivers. I'm wondering if there's a list available.
Yeah, I do apologize, Jessica and Paul, in regard to the question prior. We're having a media call in tomorrow at 1 o'clock. We'll be sending out information about that tomorrow. We'll have more information for that follow-up question at 1 o'clock tomorrow for that. But if there's any questions for the restaurant program today, we can answer those questions right now.
Okay, then just restaurant related. Is there a risk? I understand that here the goal is, as Lucy Dunn put it, to reward those who care about, the health of their community members. So the idea here is to reward behavior that is compliant with all the health orders. Is there a risk in doing this and not enforcing the restaurants that aren't following them? Is there going to be a change in enforcement of restaurants where people aren't being required to wear masks?
We can go ahead and give it to Lucy and maybe follow up with Christine in environmental health as well.
Thanks for the question. I think Christine Lane said it very well and can't be emphasized enough, that folks that are out in public are subject to a risk. This virus we're learning new stuff about every day, and we cannot be more safe and more protective, attempt to be more protective of each other. Yes, indeed, part of the aspect of this program is to make sure that OCBC, which we will do, follows up with restaurants that are not in compliance. If they weren't in compliance, however, they wouldn't have gotten a check. And we think in tough times, these restaurants, many of which are living on the edge, this little reimbursement check of $1,000, which is a lot for restaurants spending money on these supplies, I think it will help them continue to do the right thing. Secondly, the important aspect is, as you said, and I repeat, rewarding good behavior so that the restaurants that are on the Safe Dine OC restaurant list, the public will see that. They've been looking for that. Where are safe restaurants in compliance with healthcare orders? Where are they located? What city can we figure that we can go visit and feel like we've done the right thing by protecting our families? And that's the beauty of this, is we have a safe restaurant list that has done the steps here that are not hard to do. I want to remind folks, I personally think a lot of restaurants are already doing these steps. And so it's just reinforcing the good behavior and maybe adding a few other things, like allowing for that posting of the documents so that they're reminded to go through this checklist, remind to train their employees. That makes us all a little bit safer and in kind of a tough time out there. So again, this is an unusual virus, and all we can do is the best we can do, and that's why I love this program, and I think the county's doing a remarkable thing. Next question.
Next question will be from Julia Paskin with KPCC. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you so much. I was wondering if I could ask a kind of parallel question in terms of enforcement and encouraging compliance with restaurants. There was this issue at the Cambria Hotel in Anaheim where there was a rather large fight, and it seems to have shed light on some issues of noncompliance there. So I'm wondering if the county, if anybody there has a comment specifically on looking at compliance at that specific hotel, but then also in general hospitality and kind of parallel industries that are similar to restaurants that, compliance for safety is equally important, if not more so.
I think that's one of the kind of more granular questions that we'll have to kind of follow up with you offline in relation to that, if that's okay, if I touch base with you after this phone call.
Absolutely.
Okay, I appreciate it. If we can we have time for one more question.
Then our next question will be from the line of Brandon Foe, who's with the Voice of OC. Please go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Obviously, everywhere we've been seeing a lot of technological issues when it comes to remote public participation at government meetings out of coronavirus health concerns. For example, at an airport committee meeting last night, the only option for remote participation was to call in through teleconference, and the call quality was so bad, utterly inaudible at times. It was improved once in a while after people complained, but then the call would just revert back to bad quality or completely drop out, and that committee doesn't even archive their meeting recordings, so it's not like people can go back to them. So while that meeting was available for in-person viewing, that's not an option for the immunocompromised. So what is the county with multi-million-dollar operations doing to invest more in remote viewing capabilities for these types of meetings in light of these public health concerns to avoid these types of restrictions?
Hi, Brandon. Thank you for that question. Obviously, it's a very challenging time for government entities to figure out the newest technological advances and how we're going to be able to be responsive for public inquiries and balancing the need for public response. It's very challenging at times to figure out the technological advances, and sometimes we do have missteps and problems that do occur. I was outreach to the Voice of OC last night in regard to this issue. I did outreach to the John Wayne Airport in relation to it. They did try to mitigate some of the issues related to it. It does sound like they did stop the meeting at one point in regard to it to try to rectify those issues. We do apologize that there were some problems. I will follow up with them and see if we can't have a better solution for a long-term problem that may be occurring over at John Wayne Airport. And that's our last question. So again, thank you all for joining us today. If you have further questions, we do have a press conference tomorrow, for a media call-in rather, at 1 p.m. We'll be sending out information to our members of the media. For more information about Safe Dine OC, it's safedineoc.com. Thank you all for joining us today. Goodbye.